Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, slightly different video today for you. We are going to jump back slightly onto being a parent. Yeah, let's take a walk down memory lane, shall we? Okay, so nice little video today that I've wanted to do for quite a while. It's going to be a fun one actually. Now, as most of you will know if you've watched my channel before, I have 4 children. Now, 3 of them are at school age, which means that we get an awful lot of homework in this house. A lot of the stuff I've been asked recently to do with their homework is about what life was like when I was younger and what I used to do when I was younger and how things were different when I was younger to what my children's lives are like now. And I thought I would make a really cool video because some of the stuff that I've kind of like reminded myself about when I was talking about it, I just thought, oh my goodness, like it is actually really different now to how it was when I was younger. And I didn't think it was when I first started telling them. So I thought it'd be really, really cool to do a video on this so all of you guys can take a walk down memory lane with me and remember some of the really funny things that we used to have and do and play with and watch when we were younger. So, as a lot of you will know, I was born in the 80s, but like very late 80s. So I was born 89, which means that essentially I was a 90s kid. Okay, I grew up in the 90s, I loved the 90s, I miss the 90s very, very much. So a lot of the things in this list will be aimed at the 90s, maybe a bit before. So those of you who are a lot younger than me, I hope you'll love watching this and just see how easy you have got it nowadays. And for those of you who are my age or do remember this stuff, come take a trip with me because I've had a lot of fun putting this together. So the first thing I want to start off with is videos and cassettes. Oh my goodness. So there was a meme going around on Facebook a couple of weeks ago that I saw, and it was basically a picture of a videotape and a picture of a pencil, and then it said, if you get the relation between these 2 items, you're really cool. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm really cool. When really it just means you're quite old because people nowadays don't know what that means. So basically videos and cassettes, videos were what we used to watch movies on and record movies on or anything on TV, and tape cassettes were what we used to listen to music on. And the reason there's a pencil, for all of you young people wondering, is because we used to have to rewind the video, rewind the cassettes afterwards, and we used to use the pencil in the little holes and turn it and rewind everything manually. So yeah, that was fun. So you and all your like Netflix and Sky movies and watching stuff on the internet now where you don't actually physically have to rewind anything, you literally don't know how good you've got it because it used to take forever. And they were really bulky as well. So like we had a place called Blockbuster where we used to go to like rent movies and then take them back, and it was just like, I look back at it now and it was so inconvenient, but at the time it was like the best thing ever. But yeah, that was fun. My children, like I showed my children a picture of video and a cassette and they literally had no clue what it was. And then I saw a video on YouTube of a kid being handed a cassette. He was told that it played movies and he asked where the on button was, and it literally made my heart sink. So yeah, videos and cassettes, they were fun. The next one is Pest Dispensers. Now, oh my goodness, when I was younger, we used to fight over Pest Dispensers. Kids from school, we used to argue over who had the best one. We had limited edition Pest Dispensers when I was younger, guys. Now, for those of you that don't know what Pest Dispensers are, this is what a Pest Dispenser is. And basically you open the bottom, like usually the bottom would be like little feet, and then you had like a little rectangle tube and then like a head on top, and you would pull the feet and then it would open like the rectangle bit, and then it would have little like a gap where you kind of slid sweets in, and it was literally just like a thing that held tiny rectangle sweets that didn't even taste that good, but but we used to fight over them, and you used to keep the tubes, and then as far as I remember, no one actually played with them or did anything with them. You just had them around the house until your parents got sick of standing on them and then threw them out. So even now I can't think of what the fascination was with them, but there we go. Pest dispensers. Yes. Now, the next one, I've actually asked some of my friends about this, and a lot of my friends didn't even remember these existed, but Pogs. Now, Pogs are these, and they come in kind of cases or folders like this, and you used to have to kind of collect them, and you could swap them, and I don't know, I suppose they're a bit like, what have we got nowadays, like football cards maybe, or something like that, but like everyone did them, and they were like little circle cardboard things with pictures on, and they had like little, I don't know, little like cut out bits around the side, like you can see the picture up here, okay, and yeah, we used to just go mad for them. We used to like buy packs of them. We used to get packs of them for our birthdays and Christmas. That's how mad we were about them. We used to kind of share them, and swap them and trade them, and yeah, it was really fun. Like I had thousands of Pogs. And it wasn't until recently I actually saw someone on eBay selling them, and they are going for hundreds of pounds now. Like folders full of Pogs are going for hundreds of pounds, so I'm kind of kicking myself for not keeping mine. But yeah, that was a random one, but I suppose every kind of generation's got their collectibles. Like we also had like Pokemon cards and stuff like that, which has come round again because my son's now into Pokemon, and so are a load of his friends. So I actually have something to relate to with my 11-year-old, which is amazing. But yeah, Pogs. Bits of round cardboard that we all went mad over. Anyway, yeah, so the next one is AOL. Now, AOL, I don't even know where to start because I was trying to explain this to my children and how irritating it was. And I just couldn't quite get across the frustration. Now, for those of you who had a computer in the 90s, you will know what AOL is. For those of you that weren't around in the 90s or were too young to know what this is, then AOL was a way to get onto the internet, but it was dial-up internet. So it used your phone line to get on the internet, but not like it does today. So AOL, kind of like whenever you were trying to get onto the internet, no one else in the house could use the house phone, which obviously back then, very little mobiles, so house phones were like the thing that you called everyone on. Yeah, so you would have to kind of say, I'm going on the internet, and no one can use the house phone for a bit. And it was usually kind of a clash with your parents over how long you were going to be on because they had loads of calls to make apparently. But yeah, and it used to make such a racket. Oh my God, it used to take so long to log in, guys. Oh my goodness. So you'd literally click log in and it would have to dial up, which means it would have to connect to the phone line and then arrange a connection. Like it's not like Wi-Fi, like we didn't have that sort of thing back then. Like it actually had to kind of establish a connection every single time, and it took forever and it made a really horrible noise. If I can, I'm gonna insert it here. Yeah, so that's going to be a really familiar noise for a lot of people. And it wasn't until the noise finished when you could actually get on, and even then the internet wasn't that good, and if there was a storm outside you could forget it because it just wouldn't log in, it wouldn't dial up. Oh my goodness, it was just awful. Yeah, so AOL, God, you guys are lucky. We are so lucky nowadays that we have Wi-Fi. We don't even need to think about the internet. Literally the only time we think about the internet nowadays is when it's not working. I would have killed for that back then. So that leads me on to my next one actually, which so many people are going to relate to, and that's MySpace and MSN. Now, I know that a lot of you who are younger have heard of MySpace and MSN. Now, MySpace was our Facebook, but it was so dodgy. Like, MySpace was just, oh my goodness, it just had parents' nightmare written all over it. It was not the safest platform at all. They didn't have like restrictions and things like this. It was just like a free-for-all social networking site, but it was just horrendous. And looking back at it now, it makes me cringe that I was on it. But everyone was back then, and we just didn't think anything of it. But oh my goodness, it was just so dangerous. Like, it was so dangerous. And MSN was like a instant live chat. So you'd have all of your friends' email addresses and you'd put them into MSN, and then you'd kind of get home from school, drop your stuff, get changed, get straight onto the computer, wait for the dial-up because it took forever, and then jump straight on MSN, and all your friends would be there on MSN, and then you'd talk to each other because obviously you hadn't been doing that all day at school, and then you'd literally just live chat each other for hours until your parents kicked you off because they needed the phone. Yeah, not really much else to say about that, but you don't really have anything like that now because obviously texts and face calls and all that sort of stuff, and contacting people on a mobile is so much easier than instant chatting. But the only way I could kind of say it is it was a bit like Facebook Messenger. That's just it, really. I'm going to talk a bit now about the TV that we used to have. So, programs that we used to watch were so different when we were children than the programs that children watch now. When we were younger, we had stuff like Keenan and Kel and Sister Sister and My Parents Are Aliens and what was another one, like Hey Arnold and Sabrina the Teenage Witch, but the original one, not the new crappy one. And yes, it is crappy. I don't like it. It's just, like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. That's all I'm going to say. I know there are people out there who love it, and I know I'm going to get hate for that comment, but if you were brought up with the original, it's just not the same. It's not the same. Loved that linen closet that led to a whole different realm. Oh my goodness, it was just amazing. Yeah, so the TV programmes back then were, like, if you look at them now, some of the stuff that was aired would never be okayed nowadays. Like, it just wouldn't at all. So like Keenan and Kel, which was two American, like, kind of brothers but kind of not, and then you had Sister Sister, which was about two twin girls whose mum, like, one of them had the mum, one of them had the dad, and then they end up getting together. It was very, very cool. I really enjoyed it. And then you had My Parents Are Aliens, which was about a couple who were aliens, who posed as humans, and then they adopted 3 kids, and it was just one of the best programs. I absolutely loved it. I've tried showing my children, but like, all the YouTube versions are rubbish and you can't find it anywhere now, and it's just really sad. But yeah, so we had programs like that when we were younger, and I kind of look at the stuff like the children are watching now, and I'm just thinking it's all so kind of safe. Looking back at what we used to watch, oh my goodness, like, some of the stuff would never be aired nowadays. Like, it just wouldn't. But it was literally one of the best times of my life. Like, I loved getting home from school and finishing talking to my friends on MSN, and then yeah, jumping in front of the TV and just watching loads of crappy Nickelodeon shows until I had to go to bed. Oh god, it was amazing. Oh, so simple. Anyway, so the next thing I want to talk about is Sega Mega Drives. Sega Mega Drives look like this. Now, please do drop me a comment below if you had a Sega Mega Drive, but I'm not just talking about any Sega Mega Drive. I'm talking about the original one that took cartridges, and you had like the cartridge that it came with like the 6 games on it. Oh my goodness, that thing was amazing. It had like Taz and Sonic and Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter and Columns, and there was something else. I think it was like a football game or something like that. Oh my goodness. And it was on a cartridge, not a disc, or not on the internet, and it was on like a little kind of cartridge about this big, and you slotted it in the top, and if it had any dust in it or it was moved in any way, it just didn't work. And it connected to your TV, and it was so bulky. Oh, it was so bulky. Whereas you get like a lot of the consoles now are quite streamlined and they're very thin. Like, a Sega Mega Drive was properly chunky, and then like with the cartridge in the top as well, it'd be like up here. There's a picture of what it looks like with the cartridge in. And it just took forever to load up, but oh, it was so good. Like, It was so much fun. I wish I still had mine because I know my children would love playing on it. But yeah, if you had one, drop me a comment below because it'd be so interesting to see how many of you actually had a Sega Mega Drive because I used to love it. Yeah, so on to like more kind of console-y type things. We had the Walkman. Now, nowadays, I mean, I don't even think people listen to iPods anymore. Like, are iPods still a thing? Like MP3 players? Are they still a thing? I don't know. Most people listen to music on their phones now, don't they? But we had Walkmans, which was the worst named thing ever because they didn't work. Like, they were awful. So we had a Walkman cassette and then we had a Walkman CD. And I had one of both. So the Walkman cassette was like a little rectangle kind of device that you plugged headphones into, and you basically put your cassettes in it, and it ran on batteries, so you could kind of go out and about and you could listen to your cassette thing, but then it wouldn't fit in your pocket, so you had to either hold it or have pockets big enough or put it in a bag. But then if it got touched a little bit or it got jolted or it moved a little bit, it wouldn't work, and it was just awful. And then you had the CD version as well, which was even less compact. Like, it was CD size but then a little bit bigger because obviously I had to fit the CD in it. And then those things, you couldn't even breathe around them. Like, they just didn't work. Like, unless it was sat on a flat surface with no one even looking at it, it just wouldn't work. Like, I don't know why they were called Walkmans, they were awful. They just didn't work. It was just bad. It was a bad thing. Phones are the way forward. Mobile phones are the way forward. So that leads me on to the next point, obviously, because I've just mentioned phones. I'm going to talk about the Nokia 3310. Yes, I am. The Nokia 3310 was one of the best mobile phones in the 90s. It was just incredible. Like, I remember having one. Mine got ran over by a car once because I dropped it in the road as I was crossing the road. It got ran over by a car. I went back and got it and it still worked. I could barely breathe around my iPhone without it cracking. It's just, oh my goodness, it's so fragile. Nokia 3310s were the one, man. Like, they were absolutely brilliant. They didn't really do much. They made calls and they text, and they had a game called Snake. But it wasn't like a colour screen or anything. I mean, like, if you were lucky, you got the one with the green screen. But it wasn't like a colour screen or anything. It was just like black and white screen, like very monochrome, and it was tiny. Like, the screen was like this, and it was just very, very small. And you used to play a game called Snake on it. If I can find a picture, I'm going to insert it here. So Snake was one of the first best ever games that you get on phones. You can get a nowadays version of it on your smartphone, but it's just not, it's not the same. It's not the same. So you used to use the buttons 2, 4, 6 and 8, because we actually had buttons on our phones back then as well. Just letting you guys know. There was no touchscreen rubbish. Like, we had proper buttons that you had to press. So you used to have to use 2, 4, 6 and 8 as the directions. So like up, down, left, right. Yeah, and you'd basically just be controlling this snake around the screen to eat little kind of circle bits of thing. And it would get longer and longer and longer until eventually, like, and it would get faster as well until eventually you crashed into yourself and then you had to start again. And I am very aware that explaining it to someone who's never played it sounds really dull. Oh my goodness, it used to be one of the most amazing and frustrating things in the world, and I loved it, and it's just not the same nowadays. So yeah, I will argue with anyone on that note, but yes, Snake was amazing. Nokia 3310s were amazing. The 90s were amazing. So I'm gonna make my last thing now, and I've left it till last because they've recently made a comeback. Do you know what? I'm okay with it. I've come to terms with it. I'm very excited about the fact they've made a comeback now. I wasn't, because I thought they were going to be too different. We're talking about the Turkey Twizzlers, guys. Turkey Twizzlers, oh my goodness. Now, Turkey Twizzlers, back in the 90s, were probably one of the most unhealthiest things that we used to eat for tea with beans and chips, and they just tasted amazing. I don't even know why. There was just turkey in a little spiral, with some kind of coating on. Even now, I don't even think anyone knew what the coating was back then, but they tasted amazing. We had them with chips and beans and they were just incredible. And when I heard that they were making a comeback, I was really annoyed because I knew for a fact that they would be like healthier now, because there's no way they would make them the same as they did back then. And I thought that was going to compromise the taste of them, but it doesn't. Me and my other half had some the other night, and I was so classy, guys. I was so classy. I had them with a glass of red wine, because that's how you do turkey twizzlers as a grown-up. But genuinely, I was so surprised. They are actually really, really lovely still, and I'm very, very excited. And I can't wait until my children try them, because it's just going to be the weirdest thing ever. So yeah, those are my things, guys. That is my list. There are hundreds more. And if you guys like this video, I'll do a follow on as well where I go through some more 90s stuff. If you owned any of these things or watched them or had them or used them, please do drop a comment below. Let me know. If something that you remembered isn't on this list, also drop me a comment below. That would be super cool, and I might include it in another video. For now, guys, I've had super loads of fun doing this video and just trekking back down memory lane, having a little look at all the things. I hope you guys have really enjoyed this video. I know it's something different for me, but I'm hoping to do some more of this sort of stuff because I actually really, really enjoy it. But yeah, drop me a comment down below, guys, and don't forget to tap the like button, hit the subscribe button, and smash the bell icon so you are notified as soon as I post new content. Do not forget to join me on my social media. I will reply to you every single time. I really will. Even if it takes me a while, I will get back to you. If you do want to find me and you've got sort of like an urgent request, message me on Insta because I'm always on there at the moment. Yeah, come and say hello to me, join me on all the things, and I will be back very soon with another video. Also, just before I go, this weekend, there is another To Eat or Not to Eat coming out. Nathan's back and it's very, very exciting and I'm very, very much looking forward to it. So I will see you very, very soon, guys. I hope you've loved this video. Have a brilliant week. I love you all to pieces, and I'll see you later. Mwah!